Hi everyone, good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening everyone. Okay, so there is some confusion for advance, right? Like the timing confusion. So we will stick to 6:30. So people are joining 8 and some are joining 6:30. So we'll stick to 6:30. Okay, so please join. I will inform Institute to start the meeting at 6:30. Tomorrow, please join at 6:30. Right?
So
Okay.
today we had a class at 6:30 because I joined, and is it postponed to 8?
It was because it is lot of confusion. So this is also, so the problem is already they had displayed in the website. So that's the reason. And in the email that they had shared, you can check the timing is already written as 8:30. So that's why it is little difficult to change now. Having said that, I already informed. Tomorrow 6:30 we will connect for advance. Everyone, right? Okay.
Madam,
Okay.
how many classes has been completed in advance, madam?
Nothing. We have not started demo also. Tomorrow we'll start.
Okay, madam.
And
For
today
madam, for
also class.
advance, we also get the live sessions, madam. And links pre-recorded. If you miss any
No,
session,
no.
we get the pre-recorded.
Yes, you will get the pre-recorded. Everything is live session only, advance also. Today it was supposed to be at 8, but as I said, let us connect this week at 8:30 because already it is displayed. So it will create lot of tension and double work for Institute to send again everyone the mail, right? So let us connect. Anyway, this is demo week, next Monday onwards. Though it is not demo, we already started with content, but after this week is over, next Monday, again the link will change and that time it will be 8 p.m. Okay, so till this Friday we can join at 8:30 and morning 6:30. Okay.
Okay, madam. Madam,
Okay.
one more last question. For the link for the advance, we are reaching
Advance.
only for the this intermediate, not for advance, madam. So please convey the message or you can call.
Oh, 1 second. So I'll forward you the link now only. Everyone, please note it down. Advance link, right? You want the advance link? Yeah. Yeah. This is the link. I'm just copying it. Everyone who wants to join, please join with this link, right? Please mute yourself, everyone. You can see a lot of background noise. Yeah. Once you complete speaking, please mute yourself. Pati, can you mute? Pradeep, please mute. Yeah. So this is the link for tomorrow's advance. Please copy it, everyone. So if you want to join the advance, you can join, right?
Madam, we are not sharing your screen, madam.
I posted in the chat window. Okay, let me post here as well, right? I have posted in the chat window.
We got it in chat.
Got right? Yeah, please copy that. And tomorrow 6:30. Okay. Okay.
And today
If
there is class from
any
at 6:30.
time changes, just inform us so that we'll be aware of that for the next sessions.
Sorry, Mahendra, I missed it. Yeah. Could you repeat?
Yeah, what I'm saying is if you have any mismatch, any changes in the timings, just inform in advance so that we will be aware of if any changes in the time.
Yes. So that's what is happening this week. So much of confusion because of this timing. This let me like actually it was at 8 because most of you, but then I thought about US people, right? So their timing is too late. 8 means there is late night there. So what we are doing is 6:30 we are moving it morning 6:30, and most of you it is a good time for you, right? um, right, so we will be connecting 6:30 for advance morning and evening 8 p.m, but this week we will be connecting 8:30, right? This week we'll be
Because
connecting 8:30.
as we
Yeah.
discussed strongly about 6:30 a.m. So
Yeah,
we have joined. Like it was none of
got
the.
it.
I was just for half an hour. I was just waiting for your call, and none of the things has been arrived, and I've disconnected. So it was very
Got it.
sure that you all have clearly said that 6:30, so that's the reason I have joined.
Got it. Yes. So I'll make sure. I'm so sorry actually for this. I will make sure Institute is starting the meeting at 6:30 tomorrow, right? So that nobody should wait. Okay. 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 So what we have seen in the last class, in yesterday's class, let me do a quick revision. So I think most of you, nobody is new today, right? In the class, anyone is new? No, I can see most of you are joining. So I think nobody is new. So we have discussed in yesterday's class, we discussed about variable. We have discussed about type conversion, one type to another type, right? The type conversion we have discussed. After that, we discussed about loops. So in loops, we have discussed about while loop.
Ma'am, sorry for interruption. Yeah. Yesterday you already taken the class because the institute informed that Monday is a holiday. That's why I didn't attend the classes, yesterday class.
Monday is a holiday.
Yeah, she said that today is Holi. That's why the classes is postponed for Tuesday.
mm,
That's why I didn't attend
I think
this
Holi
class.
there was no class, right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is there any class? I am not sure. Tomorrow, yesterday, right? Yesterday it was Holi. I'm also
Yeah.
so confused because I'm taking 3-4 batches. So
Because
I'm also very
we are not
confused.
know about the variables, the type conversion and anything.
Oh, okay, Pratima, you missed it then. Yeah.
Yesterday we had attended class and that recording I can see in the YouTube. So it was there, yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday's YouTube recording. So how you know, Pratima, if there is a holiday, right, they will send you email notification. So
But
please wait for huh.
no, she already. I just called and she said today is a holiday and because of Holi, so we extended all classes to for the Tuesday.
Okay, no problem. See, what will happen is once everything is enrolled, right, we'll have a WhatsApp group. You can directly check with me. Okay. So all of this confusion will not be there. So once your enrollment is confirmed, we will have our own.
I already confirmed 3 days back.
Got it, Pratima. So we need to wait for some more days because once the batch is formed, we'll create a WhatsApp group, and in that group, what we will do is, if any confusion, you can kind of post your query. If not me, maybe some other student can also reply you back, right? So that you will be up to date. Right, many of you are from different time zones, so I understand everybody's concern because it's like here it is holy, there may not be holy, here it is Sunday, there it may be Saturday, all of these things will come. So we will coordinate among ourselves. Once the batch is formed, we will be creating a group. I mean, institute also will be a part of that group, but yeah, for any future communication that will be easier, right?
Okay.
So all of these things you can find in the recordings. Anyway, we just connected for 30 minutes, not much, and very simple concepts we have seen. You can go through the recordings and feel free to ask me if you have any doubt.
Where
Yeah.
can I found the recordings?
That is
Yes,
available in YouTube.
that is there in YouTube.
YouTube. No, YouTube.
One, yeah, Pratima, we will have a drive also. So I told you, yesterday's class. So once you're enrolled, so that's why I'm saying once your enrollment is confirmed, maybe within 1 or 2 days, we will be creating a drive. Confirmed in the sense, most of you, once your batch is formed, then we will freeze this registration and we'll go ahead with all other things, right? Like drive creation and all. Once the drive is created, everything, the recording from day one, not only yesterday's demo, everything is getting recorded every day, right? So all the recordings, whatever last week recordings, 5-6 recordings, everything will be uploaded in the drive, and materials, books, assignments, everything will be uploaded. So just give 1 or 2 days time because we are still in a demo mode only this week
Okay,
also.
okay,
Yeah,
no
and then
problem.
everything will
Can you,
be yeah.
just my request is only, can you send the link for the last yesterday class YouTube link?
I think it's there in chat window. Let me copy it and paste it, right? 1 second.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
I have not checked, but if it is there, yeah. Is it there? What is this? Collab research sharing drive. It seems like a drive link. So YouTube link, can anybody share? What is this?
Let me share.
This is Google Colab. No, not Google. Sorry. This is the Google Colab. Yeah, if it is there, please share in the chat window. Yeah, so that others will be benefited. Okay. But Pratima, don't worry. Like, please wait for maybe 1 or 2 days. Drive will be created. You'll find all the recordings. Yesterday, day before yesterday's class, everything. Right. Okay. This is the link
I
for
sent.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for everyone I'm sending, so this is the link. Let me once confirm, because I myself had not viewed it, if it is uploaded, right?
This one.
Yes, yeah. So this is demo 5, right? So you can see this. Okay, so it's yesterday's 29/3/2021. Okay, so everybody who has not attended yesterday's class, please go through this YouTube link, right, for yesterday's video. Okay. Okay, so let's start with our class. So what we have discussed yesterday is variable type conversion and while loop. So only simple concepts we have discussed, variable type conversion and while loop. And today what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss for loop, and we are going to discuss if else loop, right, which is very easy, everybody knows about it. And then we are going to discuss about functions, right? We are going to discuss about functions. So these are the major 3 topics we are going to discuss today. And from tomorrow onwards, we're going to start with data structure. Please do not miss tomorrow onwards and confirm your enrollment as soon as possible. Tomorrow onwards, we're going to start with list, tuple, set, dictionary, string, right? NumPy, pandas. So all of this data structure, it will take like at least 1 week for me to complete. Pandas and NumPys are huge modules. List, tuple, set, dictionary, also we will see in detail, right? Tomorrow onwards, we'll start that. And also data type is there. So we will see data type also, Python data types tomorrow. Okay, so this is what we're going to see. So first thing is your for loop. In data structure, there are 3 questions. One is from a different company's coding test question. In the assignment folder, you will find it. In this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, you can take that as your assignment and practice the problems. By this Saturday, I think we will be able to complete list or tuple, 2 data structures, and you can practice all of those data structure and some questions from function. 1 question from function and 1 question from list. You can practice on this weekend. Okay. Okay, so what is your for loop? Anyone? Why we use for loop? For loop.
Yeah, madam. It is basically the block of statements which gets repeated. I mean, until we get a false.
That is while loop, right? Until it
Yeah,
is false. Yeah.
yeah, but herein there is a limit with respect to the number of count.
Yes. So iteration, right? Basically, if you want to repeat a block of code multiple times, right? Iteratively, if you want to repeat, then you can use for loop. So in other languages, we have I plus plus, I minus minus, right? I is a variable. But what we are going to do here is we have a separate function called range function. Let me first write the syntax, and line by line, I will explain. So what is the syntax? The syntax is for I in, let's say I'm using a new function called range function, and range function will take 3 arguments. I will explain range function in detail. Let me write the starting index. I want I value needs to be started from 1. Ending index should be, let's say, I want I should go till 10. So I will write 11, and I will run this particular block of code. So for I in range of 1 to 11, print I, right? What I'm writing, print I am writing. So if I run this code, you can see I is repeated how many times? 10 times. So I am going to use a function called range function, which is basically the same thing as I plus plus and I minus minus, right? Let me repeat what is this range function is doing here. So range function has three things. The first index is nothing but your starting index, right? The starting index, if you do not give the starting index or if you do not mention the starting index, the default starting index is 0, right? If you do not give any value for starting index, it will start from 0. But if you want I value for any particular value, let's say I should start from 10, 15, 100, 200, you can mention the starting index. Second is your ending index. So ending index is exclusive. So what do you mean by ending index? Ending index means till what point I should vary or I should go. So I should go till 10. So I'm writing 11. So if I'm writing 11, it should go till 10. I comma 11. So I comma 10, it should go till 10. And the last is your step size. If you remember in other languages, you are writing I equals to I plus 1, I equals to I minus 1, I plus plus, I minus minus, I minus 2, I plus 3. All of these things you can do by using the third parameter, that is step size. In this particular situation, I have not mentioned the step size. The third parameter, you can see it is blank. If it is blank, the step size is default is continuous 1 1 1 1 1. If you want to, let's say I plus 2, so what is the step size? Step size should be 2. For example, let me show you what I have said. If I want to increment I, every time I'm running the loop, I should be incremented by 2 value. So I'll write 2. First time I equals to 1, then I plus 2 3, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 2 7, 7 plus 2 9. Like this it will run. If I want I to increment 3, so I will write I 1 1 and then 3, right? Like this it will kind of run. And then if you do not mention this first starting index, you can see starting index of I is basically it is taking 11 as starting index. So let me remove this. So in this case, starting index is 0. 0 to 10 it will go. 11 is exclusive, so it will go from 0 to 10. Let me repeat. So what is the syntax of a for loop? For loop is a loop where for a certain value of I, you will be repeating the block, right? Or the logic. If you want to iteratively do something, then you will be using for loop. So how to increment or decrement I value? Using a range function. So range is a built-in method in Python which will take 3 arguments. The first parameter is starting index, default is 0. Second is your ending index, which is exclusive. If you want to take it till 100, you need to write 101. So last parameter is the step size. Default is +1. If you want any other value, you can mention there. And then whatever logic you want to write, you can write in the body part. As we discussed yesterday, write a colon and then enter. You can see some space, right? You can see some space you are leaving. And then you are writing your code. So this is the body part and this is the header part. This is a simple example of your for loop. If you understand this, right? Now I will ask you one question and you will tell me, you can guess, no worries if it is wrong, that's absolutely fine. If I want to decrease I value, let's say I value, I want to start, my question is, I want to start I value from 10 and I want to reduce it -1 each time, right? Till, let's say, I want to take it till 4, 10 to 4 in a decrement way, 10, 9, 8, 7 like that. So what I should write in the range function? If I want to decrement I value 1 1 1 1 in each iteration, starting should be at 10, ending should be at 4, and it should be decrement.
4 comma 10 comma -1.
-1, yeah.
Okay, so what I will write, starting is 10, ending is 4. What I will write? Yeah, could you repeat again?
10.
4 comma 10 comma -1.
4 comma 10 comma -1. Nothing is happening. What I will do next? Any other
If the-
answer?
As we
The
start
-1, start from -1.
Madam, we
Think
want to
again.
give the body part. We want to give the condition.
So that condition only I am asking. Think again.
I
Take some time.
-1. Madam, I -1.
I minus minus.
So that's what I'm asking you. I minus minus I want to do. So I want to decrement the I value.
I minus 4. I minus comma 4.
Ten 4 minus 1.
Right? So it's just the reverse. I think this is little weird, but this is how it is. So starting should be you want to decrement, right? Starting is your 10. So see, if you start from 4, it is increment, isn't it? 4 to 10 if you are taking, it is not decrement, no, it is increment one by one. So from bigger number you are coming to the lower number, isn't it? Please understand, when you will decrement, when you decrement, what will happen when you decrease the value, reduce the value from bigger number is subtracting, isn't it? 1 1 1 1 1 1, your each iteration subtracting. So initially I value was 10, and then you want to take it till 4. 4 if you write go till 5 and minus 1. So first time it will start from 10 and then 9 and then 8 7 6 5, and this is for minus 1. If you want to do two steps, let's say 2 2 I minus 2, then you will write simply what you will do, what change, 2 step you want to decrease, here you change it to what, minus 2. Is it clear? So plus or minus, for example, I want to start from 4 and I want to go till 10 with the increment of 2. So this is increment, the above one is decrement. 4 6 8 and 10, right? Is this clear, the range function? Feel free to ask me if you have any doubt.
Yes, madam. Clear, madam.
Right? So this range function you can use to change any value in I. Increment, decrement, plus 1, plus 2, minus 1, minus 2, how much you want, you can do. Now I'll ask you one more thing. Let's say you don't want I value to be continuous, right? Like not plus 1, minus 1 or plus 2, minus 2. It should be random. Then what you will use, let's say you are kind of you are so basically you want to see what is the function. Let's say you are running a machine learning small equation inside a for loop, y equals to mx plus c. Let's say this is your equation, and m values are different. Let's say, or let me make it simple, y equals to mx. So let's say m value is, x value is constant. Let's say x value is yeah, sorry. So let's say x value is constant, let's say it is 7, okay, and m value you want to check what is the for a range of m value. Let's say first it is 0.1 and then it is 0.9 and then it is 4.5. So for all of this m value you want to store y value. So what you will write in this case, you will write a for loop because you want to iterate. So how to write for I in m? So what do you mean by for I in m? This line you need to understand. So m is a list here. Don't worry, we will discuss about list maybe in tomorrow's or day after tomorrow's class. Maybe tomorrow only we will discuss about list. List is the data structure. So list, within list I will write all the random numbers that I want to use as I value. So what I'm saying is you take value of I from this list. The first iteration I value will be 0.1, and then what I'm doing for this, I'm writing y equals to x, m into x. Here I star x is constant, and then I am printing what I'm printing. I'm printing what is my I am printing what is my x, right? What is my y, both I'm printing. So let me do all of these things. Let me run and let me explain. So here also I'm writing this, I need to uncomment. Here also I'm running a for loop, but what is the difference? The difference is what wrong I have done something. Okay.
X, madam. X.
Oh,
X.
okay.
Actually, I have also
Yeah,
come.
I have commented this. Yeah. Right. So you can see that I got some value. So first I value. So see this. Let's say this is just, if you want to give simply space, you just write print and then nothing, right? Print like this. So what I want is here, let's say print I am above is I value, right? So just I'm printing so that you can easily understand. So above is I value. So 0.1 is the I value. And then you can see some space because of this print, right? So 0.1 is the first value of I, and it is taking from this list, right? How many times this loop will go? 3 times. How many elements are there? Those many times. And then it is applying this formula y equals to I into x, and then it is showing you the results. And second iteration, you can see I value is 0.9, again the second value. And then the third iteration, you can see I value is 4.5. So all of these values of I is not continuous, right? If you want a for loop where the I value is not continuous, will you use range, or what you will use? List you will use. Is it clear? For loop is clear. For any value of I, you can run a iteration wise, you can run any logic. For loop, is it clear? This code is
Give me
clear.
one more example.
Yeah. Okay. So before we jump into another example, let me know if this example is clear. 12 cell number. Is clear? This example?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Madam, what is the last but one line? Print, then bracket, double colon, double colon. What does that signify?
Nothing. Just a space it will give. See, it is not. See here, it is a space, right? So if you want to leave some space between the outputs, you can write this. Let
Okay,
me
okay,
show you.
understood.
Yeah, this is just to show you in a nice format the output. Now it is looking nice, right? So that's what.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Okay. So we understood while loop and we understood for loop. We have a very important loop called if else, and if else is the easiest loop. I think there is nothing in if else. Everybody already knows. Just you need to remember syntax. If else syntax is very similar in Python as compared to other languages, but only thing is here it is not else if, it is elif. That's the only difference. Rest all syntax is same. So if else, where we will use if we want to check the condition only one time, and if that is false, we will come out of the loop. That time we will use if else. Unlike your for loop and while loop, it will not keep executing until and unless the condition is false in while loop, right? It's just check one time. If it is true, it will enter. If it is false, it will come out. Even though it is true, it will not check the condition second time. Only one time it will check the condition. If it is true, it will enter into that loop. If it is not true, it will go to the next block. So let me first write simple things, right? For if, let's say 5 is greater than 2, simple condition, then what I'm writing, print I am in if. So you can see that I am in if executed only one time because, and let me write one more print here, right? This print is outside of my if loop. I am outside of if, right? I'm outside of if. So if I run this, you can see I'm outside of if. So this, how many times this block has been executed? Only one time. Why? Because if the condition is true, it will enter inside the loop and it will execute only one time. Now, if I want to check multiple condition, I will write multiple if else. This is one. I will write one more condition. How to write one more condition? I will write L if check something. Let's say this condition is false, right? Let's say 5 is greater than 2. This condition is false. I'm checking one more condition. Let's say 5 is greater than 2. So let's say this condition, elif condition, I'm checking, and then I'm printing I am in elif. And then let me run again. So what I will find, I am in elif has been executed, not I am in if. Why? Can anybody explain why? You need to explain because simple concepts.
Because
Anyone?
5 is not less.
Because 5 is not less than 2. That's why.
Yes. So any condition which is false, it will not execute that loop. So if the first condition is false, so it came to the elif block. Elif is true. That's why it entered inside elif block. Now if I write else block, right? Let's say, let me write else block. And then if I write print I am in else. So what will be the output? Anyone? What will be the output now? if I execute?
Same.
Same, right? So else block will execute when none of the condition is true, right? If all the conditions are false, then only else block will execute, right? Let's say this is the condition. Now else block will execute. So this is else if or if else, very simple concept. I think you already know in other languages. Same in Python. Only one thing need to remember, whether it is a function, while loop, for loop, or if else. One thing you need to do in Python is you need to write this colon and then you need to give some space. Indentation is very important in Python, right? You need to write this colon and then give some space and then enter. If else, while, and for loop is very important. Mostly you may use it while you are writing any logic, right, to any function or some other machine learning or statistical concept. When you're implementing, you may need all of these loops. That's why it is important. Okay.
Madam,
I think, yeah.
madam, if I have the ranges, can I define within the ranges? If function may I use within the ranges? Suppose if the range values are 0 to 5, print sum of these, and 5 to 10, print how many values, and sum of 5 to 10 values, like that.
A range function you can use only one time when you are so you can write nested for loop if you want, but range function you can write one time, where you can have to write start and then the step size. If you want other things, if it is not a continuous value, you can use list for loop. Right.
No, madam, suppose I have values 0.1, 0.2,
Yes.
0.10, okay, up to 1. Again 4, 4.1 up to 5. Again I have some 10, 10.1 up to 11. So I need some.
So you need to create different list for that, and then you need to, so as I said, right, all the values you can put it in one list. If it is not continuous, you can use range to create. So we have other things, we will discuss that in NumPy. We have arrange function. So using range or arrange, you can create continuous numbers. But if it is different range, right, not in one range, then you have to use list. There is no other option. So what I mean to tell you is this should be either a range or a list. Is it clear? So for I in what, I should be either in a range which is continuous in the sense no break in between, like 0.1, 0.2 and 1 and then 4, there is a break. So range function will not be able to do that. It will only generate continuous numbers. If there is a break, you need to use a list. Now how to create that list, that's a different discussion. You can use range, smart way to create that list instead of one by one value putting. So we'll discuss that in list chapter. Okay, so are you getting? So in what? So here, if it is a break,
Okay.
you have to write every value inside a list. Okay, now we understood about all of these loops. The next thing that we will discuss is something called a function. Now, before I start explaining about functions, I want to hear from you. What do you mean by a function? What do you mean by a function?
Basically,
Yeah.
when we give input, uh, uh, there are some codes which converts the input into the output. So those codes are, I think, called function.
uh, if you want to have some iterative code to be displayed, and that we can make it as a function, and where we can call it iteratively whenever it is required.
Yes. So why we need function? For code reusability, right? Code reusability. So what do you mean by code reusability? Code reusability in the sense, instead of me writing the code again, in the sense, code in the sense the logic basically, right? What do you mean by the code? The logic. Can I write a block of code which I can reuse, right? Reuse, right? So what do you mean by code reusability? So code is nothing but a block of code or logic. Instead of me writing the code, can I write a code inside a block? right? And I will keep the logic in one place. Whenever I need that logic, I will simply use it. Why should I repeat the logic again and again? So let me give you one example of code reusability. For example, in your machine learning, one very simple thing is nothing but mean. So mean you will repeat multiple times. Can you tell me the logic of mean? What is the logic of mean for any column or for any array or for any data structure? How to find mean? The logic of mean is
S- Sum of
Some of
sum of variables divided by number of variables.
yes, sum of all divided by total number of elements. So if you find the mean, you will apply the same logic. If I will find the mean, I will apply the same logic. Anybody, maybe if you are working in a data science team, or let's take one more example. Let's say this simple example called a linear regression. This is a machine learning program. So let's say today I have done one project where the data, the project is on regression. So I will be writing such a complex mathematical algorithm to implement regression in my project. After 2 months, let's say one more project came, again that is also a regression project. Again I need to repeat the code. Somebody else is going to use again regression, again they need to write the code. So the linear regression concept is same, right? Either you write or me write or anybody else, the concept of math is same. So why we will repeat? Instead of that, sklearn, every function is defined by the developers. What we are doing, we're just calling it. Instead of writing from scratch, we're just using, right? So that is called built-in functions, or the logic is already defined in Python, we are just using it, or inside the library we are just using it. So that is a function, basically code reusability. Now how to write a function in Python? So user defined function, how to write? There are two things, one is a function definition and one is a function call. So definition is the part where you define the function, what your function is doing. Let us start with a simple function, adding two numbers, right? So what is the logic of adding two numbers? Just take two number and give the output. So what I will do is I will give you two example of function. One is simple and one is little complicated, right? My voice is not coming. Please confirm others. Am I
No,
audible?
madam, audible. Yes, madam.
Audible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it is
Yeah.
audible. Actually, I mean, lost completely for 2-3 minutes.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah. So the function definition, what I will do is def keyword followed by the function name. For example, add is the function name, and within bracket add numbers, right? I'm going to add numbers. This is my function name. Function definition, def followed by the name of the function, and within bracket I will write the variables, let's say a and b. So I will explain you what is a and b. Let me first write the code. And what this function is returning, this is returning a plus b. Very simple logic. So I have defined a very simple function called add numbers. What is the name of my function? Add underscore numbers. What this function is doing, it is taking two parameters called a and b, and it is returning the value of a and b, the sum of a and b. So this is what the function logic is. Now let's say your friend wants to add two numbers. So what he will do is he just will call this add numbers function and pass the parameter. He wants to add 6 and 7. So if I run this, 6 will be replaced, a will be replaced by 6, b will be replaced by 7, and then I will find the sum of 6 plus 7. It will return the sum, that is 13. Right? I can hold it in some other variable. So there are two parts of this. One is a function definition and one is a function call. Function definition, how to define a function? Def keyword followed by the name of the function. Within bracket you write the variables, and then a colon, and then you write the logic. Whatever your function is doing, you write the logic, right? And then how to call it? How to call a function? Function name and pass the parameters. Function name and pass the parameters, and you will be able to kind of run the or call the function. So this is a very simple function. We will see so many examples. Only one thing I want to add here, and then you can ask me if you have any doubt. Can you tell me how to take help for any built-in function? For example, I want to use print. I don't know how to use print. So how I will take help in Jupyter?
Question mark.
Question mark? And then if I run this, I just want everybody to see this. There is something called dog string. It is not in sorry, it is not in print. It is there in every function. You name it any function. Let's say type function I am using, right? Many times yesterday we used type function. So you just take help dog string. So every function that is there that is native to Python or a extra library you are using the functions from external packages, you will find a doc string. Always read the doc string to know about the function, what it is doing. The description of the function will be present inside doc string. Sorry. So will you be able to add docstring to your function? Answer is yes. You can add docstring to your function so that others can take help. Now, if I write, let's say how to take help for add number. This is a simple function, but let's say you have written a function which will take the input like current and voltage and it will find the capacity megawatt hour. Now you are electrical engineer, you can understand the logic, but I am not electrical engineer. I'm from CSE background and we need to collaborate because of one project. How I will understand what you have done inside that function? Though I can understand Python, it will very difficult for me to understand the logic. So if you want others should understand your function, then you can write doc strings to your function. Now if I take question mark and run object not found, sorry, numbers, so you will find doc string is blank, right? It's nothing, it's not showing anything, right? So it's not showing anything. I think there is some spelling mistake. It should show something, but doc string will be blank. Can you see now? Is there anything in the doc string? Nothing. It's blank. I want to give some text here so that people can understand what my function is doing. So what I will do is I will write a string here. This should be always the first line. Doc string, if you want to add, you cannot add in any other line. This should be always be your first line. In the first line, I will write this is maybe this function. This function will take two parameters and return the sum of these, right? So this is what my doc string is doing. And then if I run this and then if I take help, can you see something inside doc string? So this function will take two parameters and return the sum of this. So at least you are getting at high level what your function is doing, isn't it? So this is what is called doc string. This is how it's a good programming practice. So when you go to industry, and when you collaboratively work with the different team members, it is always better to add docstring to every function that you're writing so that others can take help and understand and give proper examples also so that they can use it in a nice way. Is it clear? The function is clear. The docstring part is clear.
Yeah. And Susmita ma'am, one question like
yeah, Vinash.
have,
one by one.
Yeah, like if I have a multiple
Man, please go ahead.
Can I?
Yeah, Vinash, you can go ahead. After that, others can ask. Yeah.
So basically, if I want to add a doc string, then I will have to put this three double colon at the start and at the end after defining the function,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
First line. First line only. If you write
After the
second,
first.
third, yes. After the header, immediately before you start the body part, after the header, it should be the first line.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, one question like example, I have written one function add number. So in my big hundreds of code, I want to utilize I don't know which function I already exist. So I just want to know the list of functions which are available already built in my code, and so that I can utilize. Is there any way which I can see the list of functions in my code?
Yes, you can do that. Any suggestion? Like yes, others. Can you help him? Or let me tell him. So you need to write everything within what class, right? You remember the class concept. So if you write all the functions within a class, then yes, dir method, it will list down all the methods and functions. Methods and functions are same, like any attributes or whatever is present within that class, you can see everything. So all of these external Python libraries are actually a class. We call pandas is a library, sklearn is a library. So everything is kind of written in OOPS concept, class kind of thing. So what, let me show you one example. Let's say list, right? List is a data structure. So list has many functions. There is a function in list which will help you to find the length of the list. There is another function which will help to reverse the list, sort the list, right? Add elements to the list, delete elements. So for all of these operations, we have different functions which is defined within a list module. So how to understand all the functions that is available within list module, dir of list. So it will give you entire description. So within list, you have this append method, clear method, copy, count, extend, index, insert. And after that also you can take help. For example, let's say I just want list dot and then tab. I can see all of these methods, right? Whatever is there, you can see tab, everything is coming. So I can select, for example, I don't know what is remove, I want to take help, and then how to take help, question mark, and then run. Every function you will find doc string which will tell you clearly what this function is doing. So this remove function will remove the first occurrence of the value. Is it clear? So yes, the answer is you can do that. Sorry, if you want to understand all the functions whatever you have defined in one kind of like the list of all the function, you have to write everything within a class kind of structure. Is it clear, Mahendra?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so not only that, like a little bit of oops concept, if you know, that will really make you a good programmer. So though in data science it's basically, see, in data science it's not very lengthy 1000 5000 to 20,000 lines of code like software programming. We have limited codes. Having said that, small program can do wonders, right? Like that kind of thing. So that's the reason it's not like multiple, like your web development, you have multiple script main function, and within that you have different pages, files, html, css, so many different folder structure. Right, in one folder you'll keep all the html files and all that. So that is not there in data science. Mostly entire project will be finished in one or two script. But having said that, if you're industrial like productionalizing any code, obviously you will have something. A better way is you write or define all your function in one script, and you have your another script in the main function. You just call those functions. You define all the script in one, sorry, define all your function in one script, import all of that in other, um, and then another function, you simply call it, right? So in main method you call all the functions, and you define the function in a separate file. So what is the benefit of this? If you want to do some changes, you don't need to touch the main script. You can go to the function definition script and do some changes there. That is a good programming practice, right? You will understand what I'm saying once we go to maybe NumPy. Once we start using external packages, you will understand what I'm saying. It is too early for you to understand, but you got it, right? The idea is kind of use different scripts. Don't write everything in one script. Okay. So yeah, so what we will do is we will not start any new concept today. We will stop here, and I will give you one question. Everybody is ready with the Jupyter Notebook? Do you have Jupyter Notebook, or anyone is there for whom Jupyter is not installed? They can use Google Colab. So Google Colab is same platform. You can simply, you have Google Drive, then you are good. If you have Google account, directly you can start using. It's very similar to Jupyter. Actually, it is Jupyter Notebook. And even though you don't have anything, that's okay. I'm not bothering about the syntax. I just want the pseudocode. So I'm giving you a quick assignment. Do not say Google, you will find the answer. Whatever is coming to your mind, take 5 minutes, think, and then let me know the logic of finding a mean. Write a function to find mean. The logic, you know, sum of all numbers. divided by number of elements. Will you be able to write that? You don't know list. Okay. Actually, you don't know any data structure, so doubtful you will be able to write it. Try at least the pseudocode you can give me. So don't worry about the logic. Sorry, not logic. So the syntax. Syntax you may not be able to write because you don't know list, right? So at least whatever is coming to your mind, you can speak, right? Like let's say sum of all the numbers divided by number of elements. Let's say this is the number. Let's say 10 and then 20 and then 30, right? So if this is this using for loop, what you will do? I want the logic, or simply tell me how to find the sum. Leave about you. If you can find the sum, you can find the mean. That is easy. So main thing is I'm asking you how to find the sum of all these numbers. This is a list. You have 10, 20, 30. I want you without using sum function. There is a function called sum. I don't want you to use that. Write your logic. Sorry, to find the sum of all of these numbers. I think this is easy, right? Once you find the sum, divide by n, so you will find the mean. You can write your pseudocode in the chat window and send to me only, not to everyone, because others may be distracted looking at your code. So you can send to me privately, you can send to me your code, right? Let me check. Sum of numbers. A list is there. You need to, and this is the list 10, 20, 30. You need to tell me the sum of all the numbers and divide by n, that is mean. Yeah. Okay. Raj, your solution is correct, but you need to do little modification there. I mean, almost it is the logic is correct, but there is a problem though with this logic. And I mean, the logic is correct, but one single line you have to add in your solution. One single line which you are missing. Think, but I mean, your thinking approach is very much matching. It's a very simple function. You can take time. At least let me know the logic. I think I already found some solutions, but I will wait for some more time. I will give you a hint, right? The hint is use a counter and initialize the sum counter to 0. That is the only thing most of you are missing. And then the logic you have already written. Now you should be able to write. Use a counter called sum, right? Sum equals to 0. And then I don't know. Then you use for loop. That's the hint. Okay. Yes. Raz, your solution is correct now. Okay. So almost it is correct. So see, the logic is, so logic is very simple. If I write inside a for loop, right? If I write this inside a for loop, so I will write for I in, let's say this is, let's say I'm giving this as, or I will write like this for I in 10, 20 and 30 for each value of I. Most of you have written like this, right? For I in numbers or for I in this list, what I will do is, let's say sum equals to sum plus, right? What I will do, sum plus what? Sum plus I, right? So if I do like this,
Plus I.
and yes, if I initial one more mistake you people has done, sum equals to 0, so it should be outside of the loop, right? Otherwise it should be outside of this loop. So that is the hint. You take a counter called sum and you make it 0. Initial value of sum equals to 0. Then in the first iteration, what you want to do is sum equals to sum plus 0. Sum equals to sum plus I. So 0 plus 10. So what is the sum value? Let me print. So sum value in the first iteration, it will be 10. Right? So let us do this first, right? And then let me print the final sum here. Right? See, is it clear? So did you get the sum first? Tell me. This logic is, mean is easy. Just divide by n, you'll get the mean. Is this logic clear? Simple function, but all of these things you can write within a function. So what you need to write is you need to define a function. So before you define a function like this, you need to try this first outside function, and then if it is working, you write the logic within a function. Is this logic is clear? Whatever I have said to find the sum of numbers, is this logic clear? You define a counter called 0 outside of your for loop, and for each number you keep adding that, right? This is how your sum function will work. There is a function called sum. Without using function, if you have to write your code, this is the code. So far it is clear. Now if you want to find mean, what you will do? Tell me. Mean is nothing but what? Sum divided by n. So what is your n? N is nothing but 3. In this case, n is nothing but 3, right? So what I will do, sum divided mean is nothing but sum divided by, or should you find mean here or should you find mean outside? Tell me where you will find mean, inside or outside? Where? Tell me. Outside,
Outside.
right? Yes. So what you will find is mean equals to sum divide by your n, here in this case 3, and then you print mean, right? You print mean. So in the coding test, this is how they will grill you. So they will not allow you to use any, though it is simple concept, right? Some you never, like you must be always using some function, but it's a simple concept, and you can find the mean, right? Average. You will always use mean function, but you have never thought how that function somebody has written the logic. So like this, you can small program. If you add, it will become a big program. Like mean, using after mean they may ask you to find a function for standard deviation, which will take a mean is one of the thing, and you are not allowed to use any function, right? From statistical libraries or from machine learning libraries or from NumPy, you have to write from scratch. In that case, this data structure will help you. In that case, this list, tuple, set, dictionary, function, loops that we are studying in the core Python will help you. In real time, don't worry, we have everything in a function way. Is this clear?
Let's suppose
Yeah.
here in list there is so many elements are there which is not which we are not able to count it. So in that case, how we can write it? Let's assume here is it is only 3 elements, so we can count it easily.
Length, for that also you need to write a logic, or there's a function available, length function, or you need to write logic. You tell me how to do it.
Yeah,
Are
that
you getting? So
function we can use here.
yeah, so there is a function in list called length. You can use the length of list and you can find. Otherwise, there is other way also. Enumerate function you can use. I'll tell you later when we go to list. Now you will not understand. You can understand that using enumerate. There is a function in list. So it will give you the value plus index. So you need to check how many, what is the value of index, right? Index plus 1 is the length, isn't it? Total number of elements. So if the index is 2 means length is 3, 0, 1, 2. So that is, again, you need to write some extra lines of code. Yes. So like this, I'm just, it's a very initial class, so you don't know list. So that's why I'm not using that length function. You'll be confused. But is this clear? Is this clear? So this is the function. This is the function definition.
How have we used function to find mean here?
Yeah. So you defined everything inside a function. This definition is done. Now tell me, find a mean of I have hard coded it, right? So let me not hard code list one. I'm passing a list, and whatever list you are passing, it will find the mean of it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this find mean, and I'm going to use this list. Let's say I'm passing 70 and 70, right? And then I will call it. So what is the mean? So let me not print it, the sum, only the mean I will print here also. Right, 46.6 is the mean. Now tell me the mean of 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 60 comma 90, right? Any number. So this is the mean, right? Anything you can find mean. If you want a simple things, let's say 20 and then 30. What is the mean? 50, 25, right? Is it correct or wrong?
It will not.
Is wrong, right?
It is
Oh
not
yeah, yeah,
correct
it is
because it
hard
is.
coded. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
it is hard coded here. So we need to find length of it. As of now, what I'm doing is I am taking this length function. But as I said, you can also write a logic for this length function, right? Now it is correct, isn't it? So sorry, previously I had hard coded like divided by 3. So this is a function to find mean for any data for any list, right? Okay. So what we will do now is we will stop today's class. We'll continue tomorrow onwards. We'll start with the data structure, list, tuple, set, dictionary, and yeah, 6:30 tomorrow. Advanced class you can join. Any questions you have, or we are all good? I think every day I'm asking because it is demo class. Sorry if I'm repeatedly asking you, but in case you have any doubts, still you can ask me. Yeah.
Uh, one doubt, can you explain through a simple example, I mean through a simple example, like what is the difference between while loop and for loop? Through an example, how do we differentiate that?
While loop and for loop. So I think anyone wants to differentiate while loop and for loop based on what you discussed yesterday's class and today's class. Anyone? Quickly. Anyone wants to okay, first tell me while loop. Anyone who wants to describe while loop? Yeah, Raj, you can go ahead. Raj, you can unmute. Okay.
Yeah, the while loop will not check the condition. It will loop at least once before it checks the condition.
Yeah. So while loop will keep executing until the condition is false, right? If the condition is true, it will keep executing. If the condition is false, it will come out of the loop. Whereas for loop is not checking any condition, right? Am I checking any condition? Tell me, Avinash. Am I checking in condition, some condition for loop? No, I'm checking for a range of I value or iteratively. I'm deciding how many times I'm repeating the block. I have a block of code. That block of code, how many times I want to repeat. I can decide how many times I want to repeat, isn't it? I can decide how many times I want to repeat the block, and that I'm deciding. So I value is, let's say, 1 to 10. So 10 times I want to repeat. I value is 1 to 100. So I am going to repeat 100 times the below block. So here it is repetition, iteration. In while loop, it's not an iteration. It's checking a condition. If and while loop both are checking condition, if that condition is true, then only it is entering inside the loop. Difference is if loop executes only one time, while loop will keep executing until it finds the condition is false. If the condition is true, it will keep executing the loop. Having said that, for loop we are not checking any condition. We are actually determining how many times we want to repeat or execute the below lines of code or set of lines of code. That is called the block. How many times you want to repeat the block. And if you want to know more about while for, I think this is nothing related to Python. It's a very common programming concept. Every language has this for while loop. Please go through some like basic programming kind of videos where you will get a complete understanding. So in Java, in Scala, in Python, in R, in Julia, in every language we have this loops concept, isn't it? Is it clear, Avinash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
No problem.
Yeah, one thing, if I want to have any questions like example, if I want to try some, what does it mean? Or is there any questions which I can have from any websites which I can get it, like hacker,
Yes, I think there are so
hacker?
many websites nowadays. There are so many questions, like you will be confused. Though I will be filtering out some good questions and giving you for trying out. For NumPy, I have set of 10, 15 questions. From Pandas, 10, 15. Pandas actually 30, 40 questions, 3, 4 projects, small, 10, 10, 10, 10 questions. And then for data structure 2, 3, after doing that, you can, I will refer you. There are hundreds of websites, but I will filter. 2, 3 websites are really good. So you can try that. I have a list. I can share it with you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you everyone, and let us connect tomorrow. Okay.
Ma'am, one thing.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not from any like a coding background, so just I thinking that you are going very fast.
Yeah. I told no core Python. I will be little fast. Others, do you also feel I'm going very fast? Then I can slow
Mm,
down a bit. No problem. I understand. So because this class is from different background, so I'm just trying to match with everybody's. Some are non-technical, some are technical, some are
yeah,
experts,
that,
some are beginner.
yeah.
So as an
So
instructor,
yeah, because so many people know everything Java and many more, but I don't know. I just started from the Python only. That's why little bit
got it.
confusing.
Yeah, got it. Yes. So I think Pratima, you have a very good thing, because I think we have some time, right, till we start the intermediate batch, morning 7:30. So do you will you do one thing? Go through Python recording by Durga sir, right? And you can revise all of this concept at your own pace, because if you do not understand Python, you cannot understand part 2 also. And part 1 also, everything is based on Python, very important. And all of these concepts, I mean, later on difficulty will be increasing. It is not going to reduce. These are very basic concepts we are discussing. Later on, we're going to discuss even more complicated concepts. I understand your background. So what is my suggestion? You take 1 week time. Already you have enrolled, and there is, you keep attending these classes. Do not miss. Having said
Mhm.
that, you utilize that 1 week time going through Durga sir's recording on Python, right? And
Where can I find the Durga Sir's recording?
you should get a username password. Let me call Bhavani ma'am. She will give you after today's class. You
Mm.
will get it. You will once your enrollment is confirmed, you will get a username password where you can find Durga sir's recording, which is crystal clear and very. I think Durga sir, you know, right? Very slowly he will go from a
Okay.
very basic. He will teach, and you for all the non-technical people, I am suggesting this way. Yeah, right. You take a break. No need of hurry. So you enroll and then you take a break of 1 week. Anyway, this week is very slow. We are going. You have this weekend. If you spend 4 to 5 hours, you will understand
Mm.
everything. So what I will do is I will create a document and upload, or maybe I'll share it with tomorrow, the basic
Mm.
concept. Or if you
Yeah.
have the syllabus, go through the basic concept, maybe from YouTube or Google, not with respect to Python, with respect to normal programming concept. What is a for loop? What is a while loop? What is if else? May I know how many of you are completely non-technical in this batch?
I'm
Pratima
there.
and I think Avinash, right?
Madam, I also, madam, from the not coding background.
Non-tech, not coding background. Okay, 3 people. Okay, others are from coding background, right?
No, ma'am. It's fine.
I'm also from non-coding background.
No problem. So anyway, this is a demo week. 3, 4 are from non-programming. Are you getting non-programming background people? I'm little worried for you guys. So are you getting? So whatever
Madam, we
I'm
are
teaching, you're
following.
following.
Fine.
Okay, you're fine. Okay. So
Madam, Durga sir videos, how many duration time? How many videos are there, madam? Duration.
20, 30 hours video. Every starting from what is Python installation, data type, variable, functions, loops, decorator, generator, file handling, exception handling, everything is there.
So,
So you
madam,
don't
in
go
that
that advanced.
everything
Yeah,
has been
yeah.
mentioned, like what is variable, and then he takes it
Yes,
step by step.
yes. Yes, and it's not only here. I am considering everybody's request, but if you join in any other institute, no, data science they will not teach you Python. You can go through, like they will be little fast only because their concepts. Core Python is kind of Python development kind of line, right? That's a different track. So here the track is different. Here they will teach you NumPy, Pandas, visualization, statistics, machine learning. This is the track. Python, they will just give you a brief like how I am giving. But the detailed Python, if they will teach, what will happen is Python itself will take some 15-20 days to complete. Are you getting? So, for example, if somebody doesn't know what is for loop, it will take some people at least 15-20 minutes or half an hour to explain first what is for loop. And I think even there also, I don't know how much detail they will go, right? So my suggestion is you have some 4 to 5 days time. Today is Tuesday, till next Monday you have time. Once you confirm your enrollment, take Durga sir's recording, put some extra hours. And without Python you are nowhere, right? Python is very important. At least this core Python is very important. You attend my classes at least at high level, you will understand, and then go to Durga sir's class and please see in detail. And if you have any doubt, feel free to ask me. I will extend, no problem. I will not want to bore the people who know coding, right? So what we will do is after the class is finished, we can discuss. Will that fine? So that everybody will be happy. People who are good at programming, they can leave. People who have some doubt on the basic concept, they can ask after 9:30 or 9 o'clock. So that we can extend 15-20 minutes clearing your doubts. Okay? Will that help? Will
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
help?
sure.
Yeah. Having said that, you also try from your side, because any programming language you are learning for the first time, there is little difficulty you will face. My suggestion is go through Durga sir's recording, and also there are other Python online videos are there, YouTube videos, hundred of information is nowadays free. Go through those concepts. Don't worry about the syntax. Try to understand what is a function, what is for loop, what is while loop, what is that used for, right? And clear the basic concepts. And ask me if you have some doubts in the next class. I am there, I am live, so you can ask me. Okay, we will discuss your doubts. Okay.
Even Durga sir videos are available in YouTube. You can check out.
Is it available all the videos? I'm not sure. Entire
Not
Python.
all.
Yeah, so the some demo in the sense very basic concepts may be available. If you want to find all the videos, maybe after enrollment is confirmed, you can find that. Otherwise, you can go to YouTube also. Hundreds of Python recordings are there. From NumPy onwards, it is my responsibility, because everything we will discuss in the class. Having said that, like the foundation should be clear on top of which you will build the house. If you don't know core Python, I am doubtful whether you will be able to understand other things also. It is related, right? So take your time. I'm going slow. We have time, right? Till next Monday.
and
You can
yeah,
clear
ma'am.
all concepts.
After enrollment, she will provide maybe why I talk every time I pushing. Please give me that. I'm trying so many times. Please provide any link like a permanent link or anything material, but the response is not good. That's why I'm little bit worried.
Yeah. I will tell you what is happening there. So she is also just an employee, and there is a rule in institute. So once the batch is formed, immediately they will add everyone to the drive, and then immediately they will give access to everyone, the video links. I think they're waiting for the minimum threshold, which we have not reached because you people are not enrolling. So until and unless that minimum threshold is not reached, they are not going to start a new batch. It may be possibility that we may also do a little bit delay, because I mean it should not be like this, but like what I'm saying is minimum threshold is 10. So 10 registration, if it is done, we are going to freeze. And you can understand from their part also, right? With
Yeah,
very
but yeah,
yeah.
then you said that she will provide Durga sir's videos link. So can I call her today?
What I will tell is I will request ma'am at least the dry part she can create within 1 or 2 days, but the Durga sir's recording you should get immediately. I'll tell her to provide.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Let me note down the name so at one time I can inform her, right? Pratima, you are there. Anybody else who has registered so that I can tell her in one mail, right? She can add everyone or she can give access.
I'm
Anyone
Sridhar.
else?
I will register
I
Sridhar.
tomorrow.
confirmed my enrollment.
Okay, Sridhar and Pratima. I'm just noting it down because I will also forget. I have also so many batches going on, right? 1 second.
Praveen, I have already enrolled.
I will inform her. Pratima and Praveen. Okay. Okay, I will inform. You will get it. If it is too late, maybe tomorrow morning. By tomorrow morning, definitely you'll get it. I'll inform her. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Tomorrow morning class is there, ma'am.
6:30. Yes, we have class.
Okay.